The rain pounded mercilessly against Marcus Wright's worn jacket as he held his 7-year-old daughter Lily's small hand tight in his own. Their last possession stuffed into a single backpack, they stood before the community shelter, a place Marcus never imagined he'd need to visit. "We need shelter, please," he whispered, the words catching in his throat. Little did he know, those 5 words would change their lives forever when they reached the ears of Alexander Reed, a man whose wealth was matched only by a past pain that mirrored Marcus's own. If you've ever felt like you were one misfortune away from losing everything, this story will touch your heart. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring true stories of unexpected kindness that change lives forever. Marcus had once been a successful contractor with a modest but comfortable life. His wife Emma's sudden illness 3 years ago had been the beginning of the end, medical bills mounting as treatments failed, the funeral expenses that followed, and finally the economic downturn that destroyed his small business. The foreclosure notice had come last Tuesday. 7 days to vacate the home where Lily's handprints were preserved in paint on her bedroom wall. "Daddy, are we going to be okay?" Lily asked that night as they walked through the shelter doors, her voice small but trusting. Her brown eyes, so like her mother's, looked up at him with complete faith that he would fix everything, somehow. "Yes, sweetheart," Marcus promised, though the weight of uncertainty crushed his chest. "This is just temporary." Alexander Reed wasn't supposed to be at the shelter that night. The CEO of Reed Innovations, worth an estimated $3.8 billion, had only stopped by to drop off a donation check, a routine gesture his PR team had arranged. But a board meeting had run long, and instead of sending his assistant, he'd decided to deliver it himself on his way home. The shelter director was giving Alexander a tour when he overheard Marcus explaining their situation to an intake volunteer. Something in the father's voice, pride battling desperation, stopped Alexander in his tracks. The way the man's shoulders hunched protectively around his daughter sent Alexander back 25 years, to when he was that child, and his own father was making the same desperate choices. "How many more families are you expecting tonight?" Alexander asked the director quietly. "We're already over capacity," the director admitted. "We'll make room, we always do, but..." Alexander made a quick call. "I have a fully furnished guest house sitting empty," he told the director. "Would that gentleman and his daughter be interested in staying there while they get back on their feet?" The offer was presented to Marcus, who initially refused. "I don't need charity," he said, his voice strained. "Just a place for my daughter to sleep tonight." Alexander approached personally then. "I'm Alex," he said, deliberately leaving off his surname and title. "It's not charity. I need a caretaker for my property, and the guest house comes with the job. It's yours if you want it." The job wasn't real, but the solution seemed elegant to Alexander. Marcus would maintain his dignity, and Lily would have a safe place to sleep. They arrived at Alexander's estate after midnight. Lily had fallen asleep in the back of Alexander's Tesla, her small body curled around her backpack. Marcus carried her into the guest house, a house that was larger than their foreclosed home, and tucked her into a bed softer than any she'd ever known. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus asked when he returned to where Alexander waited in the kitchen. "You don't know us." Alexander considered the rehearsed answer about corporate responsibility, but something about Marcus's direct gaze demanded truth. "My father lost everything when I was about your daughter's age. No one helped us." The weeks that followed were awkward but hopeful. Marcus insisted on actually working as the property caretaker, fixing things around the estate with skilled hands. Alexander found himself impressed by Marcus's work ethic and knowledge, and began asking his advice on a commercial property development project Reed Innovations was struggling with. The turning point came when Alexander discovered Marcus's detailed notebooks filled with innovative construction solutions. These designs could reduce building costs by 30% while improving sustainability, Alexander said, flipping through pages of careful drawings and calculations. Marcus shrugged. "Just ideas. My company was headed in that direction before everything fell apart. When Lily was enrolled in the local school, Alexander noticed Marcus's struggle with affording proper supplies and clothes. Instead of offering money, he created an opportunity. I need someone who understands construction from the ground up to consult on this development project. The board members speak finance, but none of them know what it takes to actually build something that lasts. The consulting position came with a salary that allowed Marcus to begin rebuilding his life. Within 6 months, Marcus's innovative construction methods had saved Reed Innovations millions on their new eco-friendly apartment complex, and Alexander had gained something he hadn't realized was missing: a friend who saw him as a person, not a balance sheet. The guest house became a place where Alexander found himself visiting often, sometimes joining Marcus and Lily for simple dinners that tasted better than any restaurant meal. He taught Lily chess, she taught him how to make glitter slime. Marcus showed Alexander how to fix a leaking faucet, Alexander showed Marcus how to navigate corporate politics. The true test came when Alexander proposed that Marcus lead a new division within Reed Innovations, sustainable housing development specifically designed to be affordable for working families. The board resisted, questioning Marcus's qualifications without the expected credentials. He lost his business, not his brilliance, Alexander argued in the boardroom. Sometimes the most valuable perspectives come from people who've seen both sides of success. On the 1-year anniversary of their first meeting, Alexander invited Marcus and Lily to dinner at his main house. After dessert, he handed Marcus an envelope. "What's this?" Marcus asked. "The deed to the guest house," Alexander replied. "It's yours now. Consider it profit sharing for the millions your designs have saved the company." Marcus stared at the paper. "I can't accept this." "You're not accepting anything you haven't earned," Alexander said firmly. "And I'm not losing anything I'll miss. What I've gained this year is worth far more than property." As Lily danced around the room in celebration, Marcus realized how far they'd come from that rainy night when he'd whispered those desperate words, "We need shelter, please." The shelter they'd found wasn't just physical, it was the shelter of new possibilities, of friendship, and of discovering that sometimes losing everything makes room for something better to be built. Today, Reed Wright Sustainable Developments has created affordable housing for over 3,000 families, including a special program for single parents facing financial hardship. Each development includes a community center named Emma's Place, in memory of the woman whose love continues to inspire both Marcus's dedication and Alexander's generosity. Alexander Reed still ranks among the country's wealthiest CEOs, but he measures his success differently now. True wealth, he often says, is building something that matters with people who matter to you. As for Marcus and Lily Wright, they no longer live in the guest house. They've built their own home on adjacent land, connected to Alexander's property by a gate that always remains open. Sometimes the smallest request for help opens doors to possibilities greater than we could imagine. When we reach out our hands in our darkest moments, we never know whose life we might ultimately change, or who might change ours. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more real-life inspirational stories that remind us of the extraordinary connections possible in our ordinary lives.